So this is one of the things I've been wanting to do is I do it for my team. I run everybody through it's usually a 4-day course, but I'm going to try and wrap up a lot of it in 2 hours. So what to expect from this class is I'm going to give you guys the basics of what you guys need to know as you are starting. Okay. This isn't the blueprint for success. This isn't the, follow each one of these steps and you guys are going to be successful. This is all the things that I had to learn in the first 2 years of doing this, that has allowed me to gain success and execute the things that I've wanted to execute so far, and has laid the groundwork for me to execute my goals in the future. Okay. So a little bit about me. I was a Marine for 13 years. Then I got out, went and got my degree in business management and human resources. And then I minored in marketing. Then went from there. I worked a couple small jobs before I started doing real estate. When I started doing real estate, I decided I got asked to do real estate 4 different times before I finally said yes. All right. So every time I said no, it was simply because I didn't want to be a salesman. Okay. How many of you guys can relate to not wanting or hating salesmen? All right. So we're going to need a little bit of participation from you guys, because if I have to talk all day, I don't even like hearing my own self talk for that long. So we need some participation from you guys. All right. So what I want to do is after I give my intro, I want to go through everybody, and everybody just tell us a little bit about yourselves. Okay. So anyways, I didn't want to be a salesman. Then one day it kind of hit me that, what if I can provide value to people? What if I can find a way to help people without sounding or being a salesman? All right. So once I figured that out, once I wrapped my head around that, I decided to go to school. And when I started, I got to work about 4:30, 5 o'clock every day. I made phone calls from around 8 to 12 or 8 to 1. And then I didn't get home till probably 6 or 7 most days. That was usually 5 to 6 days a week. I did about 4.7 million my first year. I did 5.7 last year, I think it was. Or no, 5.4 million last year. And then we're on our track to do 10 million this year. So that's the basics of who I am and how I started. Does anybody have any questions about that so far? All right, real quick, let's go around the room, and why don't everybody tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what you were looking to get from this class. So let's start with Karina.
Karina, you're on mute if you think you're talking.
All right, anybody next?
Karina's sending a chat to me that her unmute won't work. So we'll give her a second to try to figure that out. While everybody else is trying to figure it out, I am just so excited to have, people come in and really want to share how they got into the business and what they did to really jumpstart their careers. That's exactly what so many people need. And not just when you're new. You know, I'm seeing some names up there that, you know, aren't brand new agents and everything, which is just fantastic, because we can all use some restructuring. We can all use some rejuvenation. You never know. The market shifts all the time, and we may need to, you know, reshift, and you need to find those new ideas. So I really want to thank everybody again, even if you're not, you know, a new agent looking to jumpstart from zero. If you're looking to jumpstart from 2019 just right into 2020 and really make a change, this is great for you too. And you know, just do encourage other people to watch that. I'm just really excited to learn things that I haven't gotten yet. No, Karina, we still can't hear you, but Kim has volunteered to go next, so I'm going to mute myself and we can go to Kim.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Kim Sunday. I have been in real estate. This is the start of my second year. I moved here from Ohio about a year and a half ago. So starting a new career and moving to a new state was quite the venture for me, not knowing anybody here other than my son. So I had been in sales my entire life, and always was one of the top sales people because I like people. I like to help people. I like to do things for people. And in all of my sales jobs, people would always say, boy, I wish we're getting ready to buy a house. I wish you could help me. So here I am, and I absolutely love what I do. And I just want to get to where I know exactly what I'm talking about everything. So this class and all the classes that everyone's been putting on have been absolutely wonderful and has helped me greatly. So I look forward to this year. Last year I did a little over 3 million, which is not bad for living in a town where you don't know where you're at and you don't know anybody. So I'm getting close to surpassing what I did last year. So I'm very excited. Thank you.
Who wants to go next? If you don't know how to unmute yourself, the blue box at the top where it says mute, just hit unmute, or where it says unmute, just click that button.
There's also, if you guys are having problems, when you logged into Zoom for the first time, it did ask if you wanted to use your computer's audio. If you said no to that, you can change that by going to wherever, usually if you kind of hover over either the bottom or the top of the black Zoom screen, you'll see the start video button and a little arrow next to it. If you click that arrow and go to video settings, there's an audio on the left. You can test your speakers there, you can test your mic, and then you can just make sure that that nothing is clicked to say that you're going to, you know, keep it muted, and hopefully something like that will change it. Like I said, there's something with my desktop that will not allow video. So it's very possible that for some reason you don't have mics and everything set up where you might not be able to use the audio. So if you would, once you kind of check some of those things, if you can check into chat, if you still can't get it up and running, that way John will know that you're going to have a hard time participating other than through chat.
I can go. My name's Desiree Silent at REMAX now, and I'm also at the start of my second year. Also new to the real estate and the state as well, very similar to Kim. And I don't know what I don't know. So I don't know what I'm gonna get from the class, but there's always one thing or more that I take away from everything. So I just like to sign up.
Well, awesome. All right, who would like to go next?
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm with Keller Williams in Morehead City. I was with REMAX with Desiree for a brief time, and I almost hopped on your team, Jonathan, when Megan invited me. And I'm like, wow, you're a powerhouse. I think I was a little scared. But so I've only been in the business for 6 months after nursing for 30 years. So there is a lot to learn. So yeah, I may have to run away and go and join another Zoom class, but hey, thanks.
Well, thank you for being here. Stephen?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Stephen Ray. I'm with Keller Williams Wilmington. Well, that's the main office. But yeah, I moved here from Asheville. I've had my license since August of 2018. I haven't really been practicing that much. It's been kind of on again, off again. I've moved a couple different places. So, but I'm here to stay now, and I'm trying to soak up what I can. So, yeah.
Awesome. What about Caitlin?
Good morning. I just actually also moved to North Carolina in November. My boyfriend's a Marine, of course. And I just got my license in March. And so I obviously have a lot to learn. But I did have my first close this month, June. So
Awesome.
yeah, I'm just starting out. So
Awesome. All right. Well, so how we're going to, I don't do a big PowerPoint slide type thing. That's really not my style. So I have a list of notes that I'm gonna go through, and then if you guys want me to go in depth into something, I absolutely will. I do want to hit a bunch of these topics at least, because I think these are absolutely the most important things that you guys need to know starting out. It's what's helped me the most. So the first thing I want to tell you guys is I want to give you guys some realistic expectations, okay? So there are really two types of realtors, all right? You have your full-time realtors, and then you have part-time realtors. Now, I know part-time realtors who do more than I did last year, okay? And then there are part-time realtors who do one or two or three, and that's okay for them. And then you have full-time realtors, okay? This is really geared to those wanting to make this a real career, okay? And I say that because some of the things that everything that I do is geared towards building my next step, all right? So I'm always trying to lay the foundation for what is to come, all right? So when I started a few years ago, I started on a team, and I realized quickly that I wanted to own my own team, okay? So I looked at every facet that I was on, how the team was run. I took everything in and started making notes, okay? So I started planning from the very beginning on where I wanted to be. Now, what you guys have to understand is that the average realtor fails. Like an average realtor gets out of the business quickly, okay? You can't just be average. You have to do a step above. Average doesn't feed the goals that you started out wanting, because in my experience, most agents, when they start, plan to be a full-time realtor the majority of the time. And so by doing that, we start hot and heavy, and then we start realizing that after we go to real estate class, that there is a lot that we do not know, and it becomes inundating, okay? So the realistic expectation here is simply that there is a lot that you don't know. And if you don't make the effort to find that out, you will simply fade away like the majority of the realtors that start in this business, okay? This has to be something that you work on consistently and constantly, okay? It is one of the biggest things that I can ever tell you, that if you are not trying to learn something new about this business, every day you will fall behind because things are changing every minute of every day. So you have to set the tone for yourself and then set realistic expectations and then just pump it up a notch, right? Let's say you want to do 5, 6, 7 closings this year. Okay, why not do 10? There's a great saying, it says, it's great to aim for the stars because if you don't hit them, at least you'll land on the moon. And I believe that, I believe in and I'll tell you this. When I started this business, I'll tell you what, giving a class on Zoom is really hard because I can't gauge your guys' reactions at all. So I don't know if I'm failing or not, but I'm just going to speak. So when I started this business, right, I decided, you guys see how I'm dressed now. I started dressing like that almost from day one. And then when I started getting here at 4:30 in the morning, my simple goal was, when I started speaking to my clients, I wanted to speak from a position of knowledge. Okay. Being Nick the new guy, right, only goes so far for so long, right? At some point in time, you're expected to be the subject matter expert in your job, or else people are going to go somewhere else. Even your friends, even your family, they're going to go somewhere else. So you really need to know what you're talking about. All right. And so this goes into what is your value as a real estate agent. Okay. I told you guys when I started, I didn't want to be a salesman. I wanted to actually provide value to people. But the question came, what is my value? What do I have to offer? There are hundreds of real estate agents here. How am I different? How do I be different? Okay. And that was something that took me a couple months just to figure out. Some people it takes longer. Some people it takes less. It took me a couple months. And for me, it was the vest, right? I'll be honest with you. I always wanted to get into a career that I could dress up. Why is that? Simply because it makes me feel good. When I dress up, when I look good, I feel good. And if I feel good, then I'm more motivated to work every single day, right? If you're sitting there at home in your pajamas and you got your feet crossed on your chair and you're just on the computer, you're not setting yourself up for success. You're not putting yourself in a position to be like, damn, I got this. I'm amazing. Look at me today. I look good. I feel good, right? I truly believe that when you feel good about yourself, when you look good, when you're going outside and presenting the world with a polished and final product, right? At least in their eyes, right? You just attract business. And that is, for me, that is truer than I could ever explain. And simply because when I came out the gate wearing my vest, everywhere that I went, I created my logo, the Vesta Realtor, right? Everybody knew who I was. They knew who my logo was, or they knew my logo before they knew me, right? And that was what I wanted to come out, right? So I wanted to be different, right? I was like, how can I be different first? How do I set myself apart? Well, first I created my logo, right? My logo was me. I came out and I wear a vest 90% of the time, right? Some days I just don't like to do my hair. And if I'm not going to do my hair, I'm definitely not going to dress up. And I try and reserve that for Fridays, right? But that kind of goes into understanding what your value is, okay? And what are you going to do that's different? And here's what I mean by that, right? It's not just looking different. It's not just having a logo that's different. It's not just knowing the same information that everybody else has, okay? Most realtors stop talking to a lead after the second or third try. That's it, right? And we're going to get into leads in a minute. But offering that value that I'm going to go at this harder than anybody else. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, I'm new and I don't know anything. That is great if you use it right. If you're like, hey, look, I have no other clients. I have nothing else going on. I have no other sales going on. So you get my full attention. 100%, you are it. And I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that you get the best service possible, because when I'm done with this transaction and I have made you the happiest client you could have ever been, I want you to then tell your friends and the people that you know that I worked my tail end off for you and I got you the best deal that you are happiest with and was able to close on your dream home, right? There are ways to use being the new guy to your advantage, or not having any clients right now. There are ways to use this, right? To be that, give yourself that unique selling proposition, that unique selling position. I say position, some people say proposition. For me, I'm positioning myself to be able to do business for my client and their extended family and friends, because I want them to know that I'm doing great service for them. Now, I say this, all right, but when I started, I said every day, I hate people. Every day I was like, I hate people. I just want to get this transaction. I just want to make money and go home, right? And apparently I have a bleeding heart, because that didn't last long. I found out that I truly do care about people. However, I don't like crap, right? So what I mean by that is you get people who like to waste your time, who like to say no to you, who treat you like a salesman, right? So that leads into the fact that you just can't be scared to talk to people. You are going to fail, right? You are going to fail more often than not. 2 to 3% of the leads that we talk to will ever close. That means you're going to fail at capturing leads 98 to 97% of the time. 98 to 97% of the time. That's worse than a baseball player trying to hit a ball. You're going to fail 98 to 97% of the time for someone or to close a deal. You're going to go out and you're going to meet a client. You're like, oh, I'm not going to get them to sign a buyer agreement right now. I've got this, and all of a sudden, they choose that house, but with a different realtor, because you misjudged the fact that you should have had buyer agency with them, because you felt that you had it. I've done that so many times, it's not even funny. But you are going to fail as a real estate agent. You're going to fail majority of the time. The difference that's going to take you from being the new agent who doesn't know anything to being one of the top agents in the industry is the simple fact that you get back up, you make note of the situation, and then you learn from it, and then you try not to make that same mistake again. Now, like I said, I've made that mistake numerous times, and anybody who's been in the business for a little bit, I'm sure Amy can tell you, is like, oh, I got this in the bag, and then all of a sudden you don't. So it happens, and it happens a lot, right? Because when we think we know people, we don't always know people, okay? You got to understand that there's a process to this. and you have to create a environment and circumstances that you can follow to be able to look at yourself and then judge yourself and make sure that you're learning from your mistakes. So you're going to be scared talking to these people. You're going to get so frustrated calling leads, calling people that you know, trying to get deals to work, and then it not happening. You just have to get up every day and continue to call these people. That's it. Tenacity, perseverance. That is what is going to get you from 0 to 100. I guarantee it 100%. I would stake my name and my reputation on it. But you have to make that choice every day to go out there and make the choice to call these people, to talk to these people, to set up meetings with people. You're going to have to do that. All right. So that was, for me, a little bit of a reality check. Okay. And I wanted to get that out of the way for some of y'all that are just starting and are wanting to, are starting to feel this when you're out there. I want you to understand that there is a light at the end of the tunnel when you do this. But the only way you can get there is by consistently falling on your face, getting back up, brushing yourself off, learning, and then moving forward again. Okay? Now, I was a little bit about the mindset that we need to be able to go forward. Maybe not just this business, but in everything that we do. Okay. They say that if you read an hour a day on the subject that you want to be an expert in, within 3 years, you'll be the leading expert or one of the top leading experts in that field. An hour a day. So what does that mean to you? What does that mean to me? To me, that means that I'm not just going to read books. I'm going to YouTube videos. I'm going to go on Flex and I'm going to look at the market stats, right? So I'm going to do something and learn something, an hour a day of learning every day. So why do I mention market stats? Well, we're talking about what your value is, right? So we need to know how to translate our value to those people who have an idea or have a thought process about buying or selling real estate. All right. I tell everybody on my team this simple idea. And it's something that I really thought of when I first started this, is that everybody wants to buy and everybody will need to sell. It's just a matter of the right time and the right situation. Okay. And I look at it like this, right? We've all gone into stores, right? And not bought anything. We just go in there to window shop. Well, if you go into a store, you want to buy something. You want to buy something there. You're looking for something to buy. You may not be able to buy it right then and there. It may not be the right price for you. It may not be the best deal for you. But the idea is you still want to buy it. We as people don't like to waste our time, right? So when we do things, we usually do them because it provides us a way forward to something else, right? We going to go in place. Okay, that speaker is $9.99, but I saw it was on sale for $7. I would have bought it if it was $7. So now that I see it's $9.99, now I know where it is. So when it goes on sale again for $7, I'll go get it. people want to buy things and people will need to sell things at some point in time. I don't care if they die, right? Their estate will need to sell it more than likely, right? Or at some point in time, that home will sell again. So why do I say that? Because you need to know how to approach people who want to buy or sell real estate. I have my own approach to this. It's kind of a mixed approach from a lot of things that I've learned. But I came up with this way simply because I hate salespeople. I hang up on salespeople. I hate salespeople. I should respect them more. I don't. I absolutely hate it when a salesperson calls me. I don't like going to car dealerships. I go to car dealerships on Sundays so I can look at the cars and not have to worry about salespeople. All right. So when I know somebody is wanting to buy or sell something, right, I then know a window is opened up for what we call an elevator speech. All right. So an elevator speech, for those of you who don't know it, is your 30 seconds to be able to show yourself as someone who can fulfill their need. Not as someone who can help them buy a home, not as someone that can sell their house, right? As someone that can fulfill their need. Now, why do I say that, right? Well, I went through a course a few years ago called actually it was 2009, called Professional Selling Skills. All right. And one of the things that I picked up in there is something called the need behind the need. Okay. If this person that I'm talking to needs to sell a home, right? There's a reason behind that need. Any agent out here can help them sell their home, right? But not every agent is going to take the time to learn what their true needs are so that they can fulfill those needs or do their part to fulfill those needs. So when I find out, that someone wants to buy or sell a home, my first thing is that I want to introduce myself, and I'm going to introduce myself as a real estate agent, right? If they know me, then they know I'm a real estate agent more than likely, okay? But then I ask questions about their situation. I want to learn more about what's going on. I want to show that I can fulfill their need. And how it goes is like this, let's say I don't know this person, but I heard them talking about needing to sell their home. The conversation would go something like this. Hi, my name is John Myers. I'm a real estate agent over here at Coldwell Banker Seacoast Advantage. I heard you were talking about selling your home. Where are you looking at going to? Where are you looking at moving? I'm gonna find out why they want to move. Okay. Is there any questions that you have about, the selling process that I could answer for you? Have you talked to someone about the value of your home? You're not coming right out and saying that, oh, I can sell your home. Instinctively, they know that, okay? The idea is that you're trying to provide value up front, and then you close the conversation with asking for the business. The majority of salespeople, right, and we are salespeople, don't get the business because they don't ask for the business, right? So when I talked before about don't be afraid to, or don't be scared to talk to people, you also can't be afraid to ask for the business. You can't be like, well, they knew that I was a real estate person and they didn't say they wanted to work with me. Okay. If you didn't ask for it, you can assume that they knew to ask you for it. You were just providing value and information. You have to ask for that business every single time. So one of the phrases that I keep in top of my mind, I came up with for my team, is the simple phrase, if not now, when? If not you, who? What does that mean? So some people, I have found that the majority of people would rather take a salesman's services and try it out on their friends versus do it themselves, okay? Because they don't want to be the first one to see how something works. They'd rather pawn that off on their friends. So if I can't close that sale right then and there, if I can't get their information, they don't necessarily want to work with me, okay? Or they're not in the time frame, right? Because the first thing, if I'm not closing the business now, I want to know when they want to be able to do something so that I can then follow up with them, right? But the other thing is that I want to ask if they know anybody who has any real estate needs, okay? So when you're talking to these people and you can't close the sale, well, we know that 1 in 10 or a person, or 1 in 10 people have a real estate need, okay? So out of the 10 people they know, they're likely to know somebody that has some sort of real estate need. And here's the great thing about this, right? If you get their information, the other person's information, and you call them up and you say, hey, Johnny, I talked to Amy over at Food Lion. My name is John Myers with Coal Banker Seacoast Advantage, and I talked with Amy over at Food Lion, and she had talked about selling her home, but she said you also needed some help with selling your home. And so she gave me your number to be able to call you and see if I help you out. Well, now that person just validated you to them. Even better is if you can get that person to make the phone call right then and there, or the text message right then and there, to say that you're going to call that person to help them out. If you ever think about it, right? We've all bought cars, right? I bet a bunch of us have bought cars from a salesman that's one of our friends or relatives have used, right? Because now our friend or relative has now validated the work ethic and the salesmanship of that salesman, that car salesman. So like, yeah, they did a good job for this person, so I'm definitely going to go use that person, right? Or this person knows this person, so that person must be good if they're giving me that information. So if you can get somebody to validate you to somebody else, whether or not they've used you or not, you are now opening the door for you to be able to do business elsewhere. And a good example of that is I think it was last week, I was doing some cold calling with my team and showing them how to be able to prospect for listings and try and close the deal. Well, I'm on the phone with somebody, and he is diehard. He's going to keep his home as an investment property. And if he sells, he's never going to use an agent. But I was able to get his email, and he is getting emails from me consistently now. So if he does decide to use someone, he'll see me and be top of mind. But we use the if not now, when, if not you, who method. And so what he did is he gave my information to his HOA president in the neighborhood, and also gave me that HOA president's information for me to be able to reach out. Well, now we're going to be listing that guy's home because I was now validated, okay, by using the if not now, when, if not you, who. But all that was built off the elevator speech. Your simple 30 seconds to be able to provide value to somebody. And so that elevator speech is not just when you see people, out in public. It's when you first get on the phone. It's whatever you're doing. You have to understand what your value is and how you're going to translate that to people, to the people that you're talking to. All right. And that kind of leads into my next thing here. And that's really going to be scripts, right? Everybody, every new agent that I've ever met, every single one of them gets told scripts. Has anybody here never read a real estate script?
I know I've sure read plenty.
I absolutely hate real estate scripts. I absolutely hate them. And it wasn't until I read tons of them that I realized that every script is the same. Every script. It doesn't matter what script it is. It doesn't matter what company made it. Every script is exactly the same. Okay? There's an introduction. There's a play on words to make them like you. Then why you're calling. Then you're going to try and build a relationship. Then you're going to ask for the business and close. Think about it. I want you guys to take a second, think about every script that you read, and they're all based on those 5 principles. Every single script. Now, if you have used a script and you've had it in front of you and you're trying to call somebody, right? And then they ask a question that is not on that script, that you were not prepared for because it was not on that script. You're like, what do I do? I don't know. Pause, brain fart. Well, what about this question? Your elevator speech is built off the same principles that I use for your scripts. And it's all based off concept theory, okay? And what I mean by that, if we all have that grandma or relative that doesn't have a recipe book or has that one recipe that they just know how to make. It's probably not the same every single time, but it tastes pretty damn good every single time, right? They have an idea how to make it. They need a little bit of this, they need a little bit of that. They're going to do this, they're going to do that, right? So your elevator speech and your scripts work off the same principle, okay? And using this, I have found that I have tried to be stumped. We played games with my team where they have tried to stump myself on crazy situations for when we do our objection handling, okay? And here's how you do it. You understand that everything has an introduction. You then build, you have the introduction. Then you ask whatever question that you're looking to ask, whether are you looking to buy, are you looking to sell? I saw that your home was for sale by owner. I saw your home was expired. And you start asking, well, what do you think about that, right? You're going to start probing for the question. Then you're going to look to try and build a relationship, right? You're going to try and add value there. And then you're going to ask for the business, and then you're going to close. Every single time, every single script is based on the same thing. The only thing you're looking for is trying to answer the questions that they have. My problem with these scripts that are out there is simply that you're on the phone way too much. But I think it was, oh man, March last year, I sat down with Jenna Morton, and she told me one thing that I'll never forget, and that is set the appointment. Set the appointment, set the appointment, set the appointment. You will lose the business on the phone if you talk too much. And here's why. If you are sitting there trying to build a relationship with somebody who can't see you, who can't see your emotions, can't see your reactions, can't see that the fact that you're paying attention to every word they have to say, right? When they already probably don't like the salespeople that are on the phone, right? You can't build a relationship with these people. You're right. The idea of getting through these phone calls and these scripts and these elevator pitches is simply that you want to set the appointment. Okay. So as you're talking to anybody, right? And it works phenomenal if you're new, right? It works phenomenal no matter what. But if you're new, this is absolutely the best way to go, because you're not going to have all the information right in front of you. You're not going to know all that information that you need to know. So if you're sitting there and you're calling somebody and you're trying to, as every script does, tries to get the business on the phone, you're going to fail the majority of the time. And it's simply because until you've been doing this for a long time, you will not have the answers to the majority of the questions that they're going to ask. Okay? If you make it a point to set the appointment, right? And it goes something like this. Hey, my name is John Myers, Cold Banker Seacoast Advantage. And I was calling because I saw your home had expired on the market. And I was curious if you were looking to get that home sold still. I'm sure you had some plans to move at some point in time. Is that something that you're still looking to do? And they're going to say whatever. And here's where I diverge from these scripts, right? These scripts are going to have you ask qualifying questions, right? And they're going to sit there and they're going to try and have you do some word manipulation, and they're going to have you try and ask and answer every question that they have. That's not what I do. Because I have found that if I can get in front of the client, I have I don't know the percentages, but it's a pretty large percentage. If I can get in front of the client, then I can close the deal. I would say the vast majority of the time, if I got in front of the client, I got either the buy side or the listing side. Simply because they now are building a relationship with you. So whereas most scripts are going to sit there and have you try and ask qualifying questions and this and that, right? I diverge by sitting there going, hey, look, okay, well, what I like to do is let's say they're pretty standoffish. I like to bring by a packet of information and just look at your house and see if there's something here that I know one of my buyers might be interested in, or be able to look more about your house. That way I can get a better feeling for what you're looking for and see if you are a good fit for me just as much as I'm a good fit for you, right? Not just, hey, look, if I can make the deal, right? Because you're acknowledging that you have to interview for the job, but also that they may not be a good fit for you. If you do that, you are now lose that I have to make this sale mentality, at least to them. Like, if I'm not a good fit for you, what do you mean? Of course I'm a good fit. It's like, if you've ever been dating, I just heard this term. So the only reason why it came to my head, I guess there's a term called negging, where you say something negative to someone to get the conversation started. And it's almost like that. It's almost, hey, look, you push them back, and they're like, whoa, of course I'm good. I know I'm awesome. Why are you saying that I may not be a good fit for you? All right. Which leads in to my next point, the push versus pull mentality. All right. So when you're talking to these clients, right, and you have either set the appointment or you're not able to set the appointment on the phone yet, right? We tend to have what's called diarrhea of the mouth, right? And that is, we just speak because we're trying to fill a void because we don't know what to say. Now, in doing that, right, we look anxious, overzealous, and we kind of take all the wind out of our sails. But when you come at it with the value method that I was talking earlier about adding value and asking questions, right? Once you're able to get the meeting, or they're keeping you on the phone longer than you want to be, by adding value to the situation, you're now pulling them with you versus pushing against them as the salesman. Once you start saying, so you want to get this done, right? So you want to do that now? So you ready to go ahead and do this? You ready to make the appointment? We all hear people say that. And that's the push for them to do something. When you start pushing somebody to do something, they always tend to push back, okay? If you start adding value to the situation and you start asking questions like, does that make sense? Is that something you'd be interested in? Or is that something that you'd like to do? Right? Now you get the pull mentality, the pull method going. Now they're like, oh yeah, I like to do that. And they're taking a step forward and a step forward and a step forward. So eventually when you ask for the business, right, they're like, okay, yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. It is the complete game changer from being a salesman, right, to being someone who's adding value, caring, and building a relationship with a client. That was a little bit more than I really wanted to go on when initially talking to somebody, but I think that is probably the biggest hurdle that we get into when we're new agents, because we don't know what to say, right? So by setting the appointment and getting over there, we're building time within our schedule to be able to get all that information, to be able to know what some of these objections that they're going to throw at us are, and understanding what our replies to those objections are, right? And if you're not doing these objection handling moments with yourself, you're not sitting there driving the car thinking about these objections and thinking about how you'd answer them. You need to. It is so important to help you prepare for when you're actually going to talk to these clients. Now, it's one thing to get your foot in the door. It is one thing to have a generic, unique selling position or proposition, however you want to say it. And it's one thing to not being scared and just being able to talk. Now we need to figure out, what do we talk about? Well, if you open your mouth and say you are in real estate, right? People are going to expect you to know what's going on in the real estate world. If you don't know what's going on in the real estate world, what's going on in the area, what's going on in the county, city, if you don't know if you don't have something to say about real estate other than I can do a good job, I promise, right? You're not really offering that great value that you should be able to present to these clients. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you guys my Flex screen. Bring this over here. And I'm going to show you guys a quick way to understand what's going on in the market. So if you go into menu and you go into market trends, and there may be different ways to do this. In fact, I know that there's a better way to do this. However, I haven't learned it yet. So I'm going to do it by my way. I go into year-over-year comparisons, and I want to know what's happening this year. So the start of this year to end of this year, it's going to compare this time frame to last year's time frame. Okay. I'm looking at residential. All right. And then I'm going to group this by city. Actually, I'm going to filter by quick search. I'm going to go in my residential and I'm going to hit next. Okay. So I'm going to look at single family homes. I'm going to go in Onslow County. You can go by subdivision. You can narrow this down however you want, especially if you're going to a listing presentation. Narrowing down is great. And then I'm going to hit next. Well, guess what? We now know what's been going on in Jacksonville. Okay. We saw last year that there was more active than this year, right? Well, when I talk about anything negative, right? Anything that has some sort of negative connotation, right? I always want to have an answer for that. For me, this answer is simply the coronavirus, stopped letting people or made people hesitant in listing their homes. However, right, it didn't go by that much. And we're still have more under contract than last year. Almost no change in volume. So our county, our city, Jacksonville, has not changed at all. In fact, it probably would be higher if it wasn't for the coronavirus. The average sale price has gone up 6%. And homes are getting sold at 99% of their list price. Now you have a little bit of information to work with, right? Well, here's the other thing. If you go into quick search, and you go into closed, sold, between January and now, single family home, we'll just use Jacksonville for right now. If I'm going too fast, please let me know. I always do stipulation of sale is none, and I don't count new construction. The reason I do stipulation of sale is none is because this is like your I don't want to put in foreclosures, short sales, none of that. That stuff skews the market. Also, new construction skews the market simply because those pre-sales will be on there for a long time. Okay, in some cases, but you see a lot of pre-sales that have been on the market for 400 and something days because they haven't started building yet, but they're going to. So they're going to put it out there because this house is set for that lot. All right. So what do I do now? I'm going to go to compare. Then I'm going to hit search statistics. And I'm going to see that the average house in Jacksonville is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house around 1,700 square feet that is selling about $178,000 and is on the market for an average of 47 days. So the average house being sold is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, around 1,700 square feet. You can use that in your elevator pitch at all times. You can actually go back here and go to 19. Change that to 19. Hit compare. And you know it was 181, right? So now 168. So the average house still the same, right? 3-bedroom, 2-bath, but it's now selling for $13,000 more. The days on market was a little bit less last year, but I talked that away by saying that's probably because of the coronavirus, and it simply probably is. Because if we went here and we did a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Jacksonville, and we change this back to 2020, and then we go compare, your average 3-bedroom, 2-bath is this, right? 43. But if we look at homes that closed just in June on a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, look, it's now the average from last year. So doing simple things like this is what's going to give you your market data to be able to talk. To be able to talk to your clients, be able to talk to those people that you meet, be able to talk to those people on the phone, and be able to actually speak intelligently about what's going on. Using Flex to be able to do that for you guys goes a long way. And so if you haven't taken the Flex class yet, I highly, highly encourage you guys to take the Flex class to figure out how to get that information that your clients want to know. If you're showing, and it doesn't matter if you're on the listing side or the buy side, right? If you know that the townhomes in Carolina Plantations are averaging, 11 days in the market. I don't know if that's the truth or not, but they're averaging 11 days in the market before they go under contract. And you're showing a client a home and it's the 11th day. Well, hey, look, I'm just so you know, the homes over here go under contract for an average of 11 days, and it's 11 days. So if this is a house that you think that you'd want to get into, we might want to look at go ahead and making an offer, because I don't think it's going to be going, I don't think it's going to be on the market much longer, given that these homes are under contract in an average of 11 days. So taking this time to do quick research every day, right? And that means also looking at the hot sheet, right? If you guys are not looking at the hot sheet, let me pull it up here. I have mine set for Onzo County and residential just automatically, but you can have it set however you want. Just manage your hot sheet views up here. But if you're not looking every day, coming in and seeing what subdivision is there, who's listing it. I do that just because I keep tabs of everybody. But the price range, maybe you got an investor who's looking for a home, and they're like, okay, well, this seems like something they'd be interested in because you've talked to them. Or you got a home over in Carolina Forest, a townhouse that they were looking for. Oh, that one just went under contract. I said that to them last night. You know, they were looking for homes over in Swansboro Acres. Well, this one just came active. You guys need to be thinking about what your clients are doing. And by talking to them, by building your relationship with them, you're going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to know that. So you need to be in those hot sheets. You need to be finding out your market data. And this is as simple as 15 minutes a day coming in. One of the first things that I do before I look at emails, before I make phone calls, is I'm looking at the market data. I know the market data better than I would say the majority of the agents out here, simply because I have spreadsheets upon spreadsheets, and I make it a weekly and daily effort to not only look at that information, but download that information so that I can look at the trends of the market and see what is going on. All right. And if that's too much for you, just blame Al Wagner. He's the one who got me in the spreadsheets. All right. So, all right. So I do this every morning, the same time, every day. All right. There is a lot of things that we do in real estate behind the scenes. Okay. Whether that's writing contracts, whether that's negotiating due diligence repair requests, whether that's ordering inspections, ordering repairs. There's a lot of things we do behind the scenes. And so it's easy to get lost in your day. If you do not time block correctly, you're going to lose yourself. Now, I have a different view on time blocking, but as you can imagine by now, I have a different view on just about everything. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. It's just me. So I look at time blocking just like in the same way that I look at scripts, okay? I don't stick to time blocking. Here's why. Because if I have a client who is only going to be able to see see homes between 9 and 11, which is my prospecting time, then guess what? I'm going to show them the homes. But I know at 12 o'clock, then from 12 to 1 is my admin time. So I think of my time blocking in a concept theory type way. I'm not going to lose out on the business. However, when we are starting out, and even when we've been in the business for a while, we get caught up in the, oh man, what do I do now? What do I have to do? Oh, well, man. Well, like trying to figure it out, right? Well, if I know that 12 to 1 is my admin time, and I just got done showing homes, and I'm not writing a contract when I get back, well, I'm going to hit myself because I probably should have done a better job to write a contract. But B, I know that that's my admin time. I know automatically that's what I'm doing when I get back to the office, is that's my admin time. So I'm not lost. It is my pathway forward. So I'm always productive every moment of the day that I'm working. That is exactly why I have time blocking. So one of the things I do at night and it's on my time blocking schedule. And here, let me pull up my time blocking schedule for you guys so you can see what I'm doing. Nope, not Google Calendar. All right. If you guys think I'm crazy, you're about to see. Every day, I wake up at 4 a.m., 4:30 I exercise. Taking my son to school was in here. It's not in there now. But when I say morning research, look, morning research. Calling expireds on Wednesdays. 9 a.m. team training. That actually just got moved to 1. I haven't updated it yet. All right. But after that, urgent emails, calling expireds again, FISBOs. Lunch with someone from my sphere. Then listing appointments. Then buyer appointments. Family dinner, work on my training manual. I'm going to read. And then I'm going to schedule for the next day. Okay? Almost every bit of my day is planned out. So when I tell you this, I want you to know that I actually do these things. All right? It keeps me on track. And the reason that I use it as a way to keep me on track versus I can only do it this way every single day is because it's not realistic. And then if you're trying to make up for it, right? Like, oh man, I was showing somebody a house from 9 to 11. So now I got to make up my prospecting time because I got to hit all these things. Then everything gets pushed. Well, then we feel like we're behind. Then we're rushing. And then we're going to create our own failures because we're not paying attention to the detail of the way that we need to do these things. Okay? By understanding and being okay with, okay, I understand that my buyer appointment is going to be from 9 to 11, and I know I'm not going to be able to prospect that time. So I know tomorrow from 9 to 11, I'm going to have to hit that harder than I did now. It provides you that little bit of relief of, okay, I got this. There's a plan. I know what we're going to do. I know how this is going to go. Easy day. So it just gives you that pathway forward. Now, one of the things that you have to work into your time blocking, especially early on, is your marketing, right? I'm not going to get too in depth into marketing and social media, but I am going to tell you that you absolutely need a Facebook business page. And I'm about to show you why. Oh, no, log in. There we go. All right. So if you go into your Facebook or your Facebook business page, I'm going to look at as view page as a visitor. So if someone comes in my page, right? I've set it up to where they can go ahead and choose an appointment. They want a buyer consultation, home valuation, or investor consultation. They can choose the time. That automatically populates into my Google or into my my Google Calendar, and it lets me know. All right. It also talks about the services that I provide for those up here. So these services are translated for the appointments. It also has, also has a little bit of information about me and my company. The videos that I want there. If they want to do a free home valuation, this is a tip you'll have to pay for. But I have coded my Facebook page to be to allow my my home valuation website to be encoded in here. They can look into my services, look more information about that. They can look at my working with real estate agent speech. So when going over agency, I did that on a YouTube video so that I can send that to my clients instead of having to waste their time when I'm in front of them going over it. I send it to them well before, and I get confirmation that they heard my working with real estate agent speech. If you guys want the script on how I do that, just let me know and I'll send it to you. They can look at my Instagram on here. They can do everything, but they can stay in touch with me is my point. Okay. So if you don't have a Facebook business page, then you really need to start one. If you have questions about how to start one, I know they've had some good classes about that. You can also hit me up and I'll be more than glad to help you out. But you absolutely need a way to touch your audience, all right? Because we have our spheres, which is the people who we know, the people who they know, right? And then the people that we don't know yet, right? Your social media is designed, or at least in my opinion, should be designed to allow the people that know you to see that you're doing real estate things, that you're doing good things, that you're a subject matter expert, that you're the person to go to, okay? It's also designed for them to like and share your stuff so that the people that they know see it and so that you can touch them. Then you use ads to be able to reach the people that you don't know. But your social media is put together in a way that people have a good feeling about you or your team or your company, so that when you're doing this, they believe in you before ever meeting you. Now, if you've ever tried to create social media posts and you're like, man, this is daunting. I don't, trying to keep up with this. Tom Ferry says I need to do this 6-7 times a day. And I don't know how to do this 6-7 times a day, where to come up with the content, where to come up with these things. I'm going to tell you this. When I was doing this hardcore, okay, when I made the time, not when I had the time, when I made the time to do this consistently, I've now hired a marketing person to be able to do this for me. When I was doing it, if you come down here, whoops, wrong one. You go to publishing tools. You can create a post. You can do it to your Facebook feed and or your Instagram feed. Add your information here, enter a link, right? But here's the great thing. When I was doing it for myself consistently, Sundays would be my days to create my posts. And so I'd create my posts, and then I'd schedule them all out on Sunday, so that every day, 3, 4, 5 times a day, there would be a post from me. And then when that post came out, I would then share that post on my personal page as if it's something that I just did, right? Because Facebook will tell you this was just posted. Oh, great. I can go in there and I can just share it real quick. So people on my personal page can see the things that I do on my business page. So with having a Facebook business page and having a business Instagram page, right? They allow you to be able to work off each other. You can schedule these things out. If you have, there are programs out there. One of the programs I use is called Buffer, Buffer, and that allows you to be able to schedule things out on YouTube, Instagram, a whole bunch of different platforms other than just what is done here in Facebook. So there are ways to be able to plan this stuff out. So time blocking is absolutely essential to hitting all the wickets of the things that you need to do during the day. If you stick to it, if you understand it and you use it, it will help you out more than you will ever, more so than almost anything else that you do in real estate. Okay. All right. So agency, right? I just talked about that, doing that. All right. We talked a little bit about buyer objection or objection handling. You guys need to be doing that in the car. So really the last thing that I have here before I take questions is, it seems counterproductive, but I tell every one of my clients that I'm not here to get them the best deal possible. And that may have caught some people's ears. And here's what I tell them. My job is to create a deal that is acceptable both to the buyer and the seller. Because if I don't create a deal that's acceptable to everybody, then no deal is actually created. What that does is sets an expectation, right? We can't always be a bulldog. We can't always, sometimes our buyers want to get into situations that we're like, please don't do this. And they're like, I want to do it anyways. Here's an example. I had a buyer that bought a home in a subdivision. They really wanted to get into a house. They didn't need to necessarily right away, but they really wanted to. And so we found a new construction home in Swansboro that they absolutely had to have. Like, okay, we're able to negotiate buyer possession. I advised against it. They hadn't done the final walkthrough yet. There were still issues with the home. But as always, I'm like, hey, look, I'm here for you. I'm going to give you my professional advice, but whatever you want to do is how I'm going to proceed. They got in there prior to closing. They find out that the plumber did not actually attach the pipe for the washer waste drain line to the actual drain line. It just opened into the wall. Well, this was right after Florence. And they had put their stuff in storage. They had finally got all that stuff into their house. And now a lot of that stuff's in the garage. Well, now that home flooded into the laundry room, which then flooded into the garage, which then got all their stuff wet. And they had no idea because they had started a load and then went somewhere and they were not back until hours later. All their stuff is ruined. Computers, laptops, electronics, pictures, all this stuff that they just saved from Florence, ruined. Okay? I advise, hey, look, we probably shouldn't go ahead with this deal. We should probably take some time. Probably, we should wait, let everything check out, bring in a home inspector, blah, blah, blah. They said no, they wanted to close it. They were going to figure it out. Okay. We'll go with what you want to do. They close in the home. Their master bath now leaks into the washer and dryer room, and then leaks into the garage again. The windows weren't sealed properly, so water was leaking in. The dishwasher wasn't hooked up properly and ended up flooding their entire living room downstairs. Absolute disaster, right? But it's what they wanted to do. Okay? Our jobs are the advisors and facilitators. And I tell every one of my clients, hey, look, I'm going to give you the best advice that I possibly can. I'm going to do whatever I can to make this transaction work and be the best transaction you had. But I'm going to give you the information for you to make an informed decision. And the reason for that, right, is I've heard a lot of coaches say, and a lot of real estate agents who've been in the business a lot longer, saying that they want you to take, that we as real estate agents should take charge because our clients are there for us to take charge. The problem with that mentality is if we make that our mentality, we lose focus of what our job really is. At least to me. Our job is to execute what our clients want, given the information that we have, providing the best advice that we have, but ensuring it's them that make the decision based on that information and that advice. The reason to me that that is so important is given that situation that I just talked about. If I had given the thumbs up or thumbs down to that house, if I had said, hey, we should or shouldn't do this, now I'm to blame for whatever happens for that house. But if I empower my clients to make their decision, right? A, they're more comfortable with their decisions. And B, they made the decisions. We gave them the information and then they made the decisions, right? At the end of the day, they're responsible for their own decisions. So when they do that, right, that client that had a disaster of a house is now had me still sell their other house after this. They still used me to sell their other home because buying that home wasn't my fault. They understood that they made the decision and they didn't blame me for that at all. I've had transactions that are phenomenal and I've had transactions that were absolutely horrible. But at the end of the day, my clients still love me because of the way that I handled that transaction by ensuring that they're the ones that made the decision based off the information that was available. And so when I say that we're not pit bulls, that we're here just to make a deal work, that we're facilitators of information and the transaction, we have to understand that that also comes with treating our other real estate agents with that same respect. Because if you come at these other real estate agents like a pit bull with an ego, instead of thinking that maybe there's something that you don't know, even if it's a situation where you think you know everything about it, if you come in the situation and say, you know, well, I see you did this. Can you explain to me a little bit more why you did that? Or I know I see it's priced high, but I also see you did this. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that? You start to build a relationship with other agents where now you two are working together to create a deal versus trying to win. And when we work together as real estate agents to try and make a deal work for everybody, then everybody wins. Because we will now get the real information of, all right, what do your clients need to make this work? Here's what my clients need to make this work, right? We cut through a lot of the junk and we see if there's a deal to be made there. And if there's not, we don't waste anybody's time. If it's a multiple offer situation, you know, that can be a little different because there's multiple offers and you have to handle that a little bit differently, right? But I'll tell you that every time that I've come to an agent and I've came at it from the point of, hey, look, how can we make this work if we're far off, right? If there's, you know, they don't want to offer as much closing costs as I know my clients need, you know, we can work together to problem solve to see if a deal can be made. Because the reality is the other agent wants to sell that house and your client wants to buy that house, or vice versa. And so if you can figure out a way to make the deal work, you guys can join knowledge, you guys can ask all the questions, figure it out, work together, right? Maybe they can think of something that maybe you can't do an FHA, but you can, your clients can't do an FHA, but maybe they can do a conventional because they really want the house, but the seller knows that it's on the high side of the value, but the price is okay with your clients, and your clients have the money to do a conventional. You know, being able to problem solve with your other agents is absolutely paramount when getting into this business and doing this. The agents that have the ego, the agents that think they're better than anybody else, or treat others as if they're less than them, don't last. Because I'll tell you that if there are agents that I don't like working with, that have treated me badly and have treated my deals as if, you know, well, we won't go into that, but and it's between two houses, both houses that my clients love, and one of the houses is listed by an agent that I've had great experiences with, and one that's listed by an agent that I have not had great experiences with. And I'm going to let my clients know, hey, look, this is how this transaction went with this one, and this is how this transaction went with this one. I just want to make sure you guys have all that information. They're likely going to choose the transaction they know is going to be easier. So when you're doing this business, make sure to be humble. Make sure to learn. Make sure to not be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to talk. Don't be afraid to learn. It is absolutely paramount that you fail in this business, because only when you fail do you learn, you get back up, and then you do better. You absolutely need a mentor. You absolutely need someone that you can call. You absolutely need to be with people that are like-minded. Because if you surround yourself by people that are negative Nancy's, they're drain the life out of you, you're going to take on that aura that they bring around. But if you start taking top agents to lunch, I did that. If you start calling these agents, trying to learn, did that too. You start going to these classes, start taking up everything and every opportunity that you can get a hold of, you will succeed in this business. Whatever success means to you, you will get there, and probably more. But at the end of the day, you will get out of this business what you put into it. And that is probably the most important thing that you can understand. That if you're not successful in where you want to be, the blame starts with you. And so I'll leave you with this. It is something that I came to quite a few years ago now, and has been my mantra in life. Everything that happens to me is my fault. Whether it's good or whether it's bad, it is simply my fault. If it's bad, if something horrible happens to me, guess what? I put myself in that situation. I may not have known that I was going to be in that situation, but if I know that my actions led me to that situation, then now I can learn from that and ensure before I do that again, I change my approach a little bit. Or I know that if I did this, that happened, so I'm going to do this a little bit differently. But that also comes with my successes. I don't owe my successes to anybody but myself. There are people that helped along the way, but I accepted that help, or I asked for that help. It starts and ends with me, both the good and the bad. And if you can do that, then you will succeed anywhere in life simply because you're opening the door to learn. So with that being said, we're about an hour and 45 minutes. Lisa, I see you wanted the script. I'll send that to you. Does anybody have any questions?
As everybody's kind of preparing any questions they have, I did want to say, Jonathan had mentioned, a lot of different tips and tricks in Flex to, really show that value. We are going to be doing a Flex CMA class in mid-July, July 14th, and we will try to add some of those things into it. We may even be able to convince John to pop in for that class and go back over some of this stuff. We shall see. But just know that anytime something like that comes up that you guys want more information on, definitely ask in this class and everything. But if we need to take deep dives into any information that is ever provided, please do let us know, and we can either get the original instructor back to do a deep dive, or we can add it into another class that is similar that's coming up. We never want you to go without that information. And I know a lot of times, this is a lot of information, a lot of great information. If you need time to digest it, please do know that, even if you don't have a question right now, you can always contact Jonathan himself. But if for some reason you don't know how to use Flex to figure out how to get a hold of him, we're going to ask him to put his information into the chat as well. But you can always contact the Board of Realtors. Heather will always put you into contact with whoever you need. You can also always contact me, and I'll put you into contact with the people you need. But do know that just when the class ends doesn't mean that the class ends. We will always, always, always answer your questions after the fact, even if you do need a little time to digest that. But like I said, I definitely think that we could probably work in some of those statistics and everything into that Flex CMA class, because we do want to give in this sense, all of July is going to be about how to find value. So we're going to have appraisers come in and talk, and then we're going to do Flex CMA, and we're going to do an RPR CMA. And the way that we want to run those classes is we're going to teach on Tuesday, and then the following Thursday is going to be a deep dive where we bring in some experts or people that just have a good background in whatever we talked about on Tuesday to kind of answer questions and really do some real life applications. And that would work great for something like this as well. So if any of you who are attending or anybody who's listening to this as a recording, if there's a bunch of you that really want to sit back in front of Zoom, or when the offices all open back up and JBOR opens back up, maybe we could have like a little round table where we go over some of this with your questions. So please do know that all of those things are on the table. We would just love to help you however we can. I am going to stop talking now to see if anybody else had any questions, but if not, I really do thank all of you for attending. So I'm going to pop off for just a little bit, and then if there's no other questions, we'll let Jonathan have a last couple minutes to say whatever he needs to say, and then we will wrap it up. All right, well, we might still have some radio silence here. So Jonathan, did you have anything that you wanted to say to wrap everything up?
Nope. Just that you guys are the authors of your own future. I know it's kind of cliche to say, but it's really the truth. If you really want it, you shouldn't allow anyone or anything to stand in your way, because you only get what you deserve, and you only deserve what you put forth effort for. So you guys can do it. It's just a matter of whether or not you're going to put forth the effort to do it.
Okay, that's great, and we really do. Yep, so Kim would also like that video script, and she put her information in there, so John will get that all out to you guys. Again, thank you so much for attending. Please do let people in your offices or just friends or anybody know if you found value in this, that we have recorded it, and it will be going up onto the JBOR kind of archive. That link is at the very top of this chat screen, and Heather sends those out all the time. So if you wanted to circle back to anything that we talked about today, you'll be able to do that shortly. Heather will get this loaded up onto that page soon. But do let everybody know when you find value in classes, and definitely let us know if you have suggestions. Lisa, I see you came off of mute. Did you have something?
I just wanted to say thank you to Jonathan for his time, and I don't know when he sleeps, but awesome information. I need a little more sleep than that, but thank you very much. You're a rock star.
Yeah, anytime.
All right, and I think we can all agree with that. Again, thank you, John, for volunteering to do this for us. We really do appreciate, and that was great information. All right, if that is it for everybody, we will say goodbye for today, but do know that we've got a lender panel tomorrow if you want some more information about loans, and then we also have that home inspection thing coming up on Thursday. So we are at Jacksonville Board of Realtors are here for you. Let us know what you need from us. We'll see you next time. Bye.